My name is Emma, and 4 years ago, I moved to a small, sleepy corner just outside Bristol. I was renting the upper flat of a 2-story house, looking forward to the peace and quiet needed to finally start my freelancing career. Below me lived my landlady, Rebecca Collins, along with her husband Mark, and their 2 children, Annie and Tanny. I remember seeing the kids for the first time. They were tiny, but they moved with a kind of chaotic energy that felt, well, alarming. My hopes for a peaceful sanctuary shattered almost instantly. The quiet was replaced by what sounded like a nightly stampede. Thundering footsteps, shrieking games, and the constant violent clatter of toys on the hardwood floor below me. It was relentless, starting at dawn and often lasting until well past their bedtime. When I gently approached Rebecca about the noise, she dismissed me with a tone that bordered on contempt. "Kids will be kids, Emma," she said, using that tired phrase like a shield against all accountability. It was her blanket excuse, implying that childhood was a free pass for anarchy and that my desire for basic quiet was simply unreasonable. But the chaos wasn't confined to noise. It started to bleed into my personal space. Little acts of vandalism began. My porch plants were repeatedly tipped over, and small dirty handprints appeared on my windows. It was petty, targeted mischief, designed to provoke. The breaking point arrived one sunny afternoon. As I came back to the house, Annie, armed with a water gun, ambushed me from the bushes and drenched me completely. It wasn't playful. The malice in her eyes was unmistakable. Standing there, soaking, wet, I realized Rebecca was not just permissive. She was enabling a pattern of outright destruction. I knew then that she would never control her children, and I decided to start documenting everything. I began filming. The crisis peaked a few weeks later when my successful university friend Danielle Shaw came to visit. He pulled up in front of the house in his pride and joy, an expensive, sleek Porsche. It was a beautiful piece of engineering, and he parked it carefully on the curb before coming upstairs for coffee. He was inside for barely 15 minutes. When we looked out the window, the scene below stopped my heart. Annie and Tanny were treating the car like a giant blank canvas. They had permanent markers, creating grotesque drawings all over the metallic finish, and Tanny was scraping a stone across the driver's side door, finally delivering a sharp crack to the windscreen. A furious confrontation erupted in the driveway. Danielle, pale with rage, demanded an explanation and action. Rebecca rushed outside, saw the mess, and immediately went into defensive overdrive. She denied her children could have done such a thing, even with the markers still in their tiny, guilty hands. Rebecca's voice sharpened into a cold hostility. She suggested Danielle simply claim on his insurance, then shockingly turned on me, accusing me of poisoning the atmosphere and inciting conflict. When she firmly refused to provide her insurance, details or even acknowledge responsibility, Danielle made a single, definitive move. He called the police. The sight of the approaching officers immediately stripped Rebecca of her bravado. The reality of the situation, the extensive, undeniable damage, the expensive car, and the fact that I had clear, unedited video footage of the entire incident was overwhelming. Her carefully constructed denial crumbled. The police officers were professional and firm. After viewing the evidence, they had no choice but to take Rebecca and the 2 children down to the station for questioning regarding the vandalism and property damage. It was a dramatic and satisfying end to her reign of chaos. Danielle, though justifiably furious, was pragmatic. He pressed charges for full compensation and damages, ensuring the family was held financially accountable, but he avoided seeking jail time. His aim was justice, not vengeance. A few weeks later, a predictable, desperate letter arrived from Rebecca, attempting to accuse me of conspiracy and encouraging Danielle's action. It was meaningless. The financial consequences of the vandalism, compensation for the Porsche, fines, and legal fees had proved far too much for the Collins family, especially after Rebecca's husband, Mark, refused to cover any of the costs, citing her negligence. 3 short weeks after that, a single, beautiful sign appeared outside the house. For sale. Daniel, who had gained access to the house's ownership and mortgage details through the police paperwork, saw the opportunity. He approached the bank directly and, citing the urgency of the sale and the property's current legal liabilities, successfully bought the downstairs flat at nearly half its market value. Rebecca and her family moved out quietly within days, their departure unnoticed by anyone. Danielle moved into the downstairs flat and instantly proved to be the ideal neighbor. The noise and tension were replaced with an absolute silence, punctuated only by the occasional quiet music. Over the months, our quiet friendship deepened, sharing evenings over wine, discussing my work, and appreciating the newfound peace. It all culminated one evening when Daniel proposed a practical and romantic solution. He proposed that I move in with him, combining my upstairs flat with his downstairs property for a serene cohabitation. The story concludes with me and Daniel building a serene life together. We had found perfect balance and peace, not in avoiding conflict, but in standing up to it, and in doing so, creating an unexpected new beginning where chaos once reigned.